What's up, my freaks and peeps? Welcome to episode 106 of the Access to Combat podcast. I'm one half of your host, Hugo the Boss. Hugo got next, joined by my co-host.
It's your boy Ray Boogie Kahuna. On today's episode, we're going to be breaking down UFC Nashville, Lewis versus Teixeira. And on the boxing end, we have a New York takeover. One card, an all-ladies card featuring Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. And on the other end, we got Edgar Berlanga going one-on-one with Sheeraz. But before we get into any of that, my brother, please tell them what the deal is.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know.
First fight on the card at women's strawweight, we have Fatima Kline going one-on-one with Melissa Martinez. The Archangel Kline, 7-1 overall. Fighting out of Hyde Park, New York, 25 years old. Super Melly Martinez, 8-1 overall. Fighting out of Mexico City, rep in Mexico, 27 years old. I'll start on the Melissa side here. Super Melly, 1-1 in the UFC, coming out of Combate Global. Her last fight technically should have been a finish. She ended up getting the decision win anyway. Ardeline or Ardeleon, depending on how you want to pronounce her name, got kicked in the cooter, or the politically correct way, the groin.
Oh my God.
Supposedly. It was a stomach strike. But, you know, they didn't stop the fight. She got the win anyway. She's going one-on-one here with Fatima Kline. Straight out of New York. Got to represent. She trains with Aaron Blanchfield. Debuted short notice upper weight class against Jazz Divicius. She's also 1-1 in the UFC. Kline clearly has the grappling edge here. The striking, it's probably a 50-50. Martinez is probably the more dynamic striker. I think this fight pretty much just boils down to the grappling. I think Fatima is going to be able to get in on her, take her down. And Martinez, she's got some jiu-jitsu. She isn't really that crafty off her back. This should be a finish for Fatima. I'm going to be picking Fatima here, ITD, probably via sub. I don't know how I want to approach this one from a betting perspective, but for podcast sake, for the pick, officially it's Fatima, ITD.
Yeah, I'll keep this short. I think she's going to get the fights to the ground. I think she's probably going to finish her via sub, but this line is out of control. It's sitting at a minus 1,200 for Fatima. A women's MMA fight at minus 1,200 is just...
That's insane.
It's a red flag.
That's
it's just
way too wide.
Just put it there. Pause. Just leave it at that. Yeah. Like, it's an insane line. It's probably justified because I think she's probably going to sub between rounds 1 and 2. I just don't think Super Melly has the grappling acumen to deal with this girl on the floor. I think Fatima's going to have her way with her. I'll say Fatima gets this done via round 1, round 2 sub. That's how I would look at it. I'm looking at the individual rounds. I want to see how nice the under looks. I think there's a strong chance Fatima gets out of there between rounds 1 and 2. So give me that as the play. Give me that as the pick. Fatima Kline for the win.
Next fight on the card at men's lightweight, we have Beast Boy Mike Davis going one-on-one with Mitch Ramirez, aka the Fight Stalker. Davis, 11-3 overall, fighting out of Orlando, Florida, 32 years old. Ramirez, 8-2 overall, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, 32 years old. This is a fight that I think Mike Davis should win. I'm a fan of Beast Boy. I'm probably a little higher on Mike Davis than most people. The guy's got the goods. I think he's a solid striker. I think his grappling is A1. When it comes to physicality and athleticism, he's got both over Mitch Ramirez over here. Thing I question about Beast Boy a little bit is maybe some of the IQ and maybe some of the grit, or like, you know, the determination. How focused, how locked in he's going to be in this particular fight, or just any fight in general.
His gas is questionable too.
I agree with you. It is a bit questionable. He's a gamer. And when I say gamer, I mean actual video gamer.
Plays video games, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, Brandon Moreno plays with Legos, so I mean.
DJ's a streamer.
DJ's a streamer. The reason why I bring up his IQ is because his last fight against Ziem, a little strange. I think his plan A wasn't going to work because Ziem, at least in the striking department, like he uses his range and he was able to kind of keep Mike Davis out for the most part. So Mike Davis, you know, was like dropping, pulling guard. And
what we call that in jiu-jitsu is like when you're learning jiu-jitsu, that's called giving up the body. You shouldn't give up the body to get a takedown.
Yes.
It's a big no-no.
He's not going to have that kind of difficulty here with Mitch. Mitch, he's a guy who throws really good leg kicks, uses the leg kicks to really set up his grappling. I don't think he has Mike Davis here in the striking department. I think the grappling is going to be very interesting here. I think there is a reality where Mitch Ramirez kicks the shit out of Mike Davis's legs. Mike Davis doesn't really check leg kicks, and then maybe he overpowers him in the grappling. But I think Mike Davis, very good back taker, very good scrambler. I think this is his fight to lose. Give me Beast Boy here for the win. I'm gonna say probably by decision. I think sub in terms of a bet is probably a decent look here, but Ramirez is tough. He's durable, hard to finish. Even in his quote unquote finish losses, they weren't really straight knockouts. So give me Davis here for the win. I'm going to say by decision in a fight that's probably closer than most people are going to give it credit for.
Yeah, I'm with you here. And I think this is a situation where these lines are out of control. Mike Davis sitting at a minus 900.
That's way too wide.
In what world? And this is a guy in Mitch Ramirez who got stopped by Thiago Moises. Dude, it's Thiago Moises, seasoned vet, knows what he has to do. And that fight was on short notice too, to be fair to Mitch. And then you get stopped by Carlos Prates, a weight class up. Those are only 2 losses. So for me, on principle, I feel like this is a dog or pass spot. I think the line is way too disrespectful. Not saying I'm going to play it. I just think there's no way to play Mike Davis unless it's probably by sub. He's not like a guy you can count on for a finish, to be frank. And then on top of that too, you've seen the holes that he had with Ziem. Ziem kind of showed him what problems he may have with his game. And then on top of that, problems with gas late in the fight. Also, this is the most active he's been, which is why I will lean him as a play, as the side here. But in terms of a bet, I can't bet him at minus 900. I don't even know if I can find a prop that's going to justify him at minus 900. So I'm going to say Mike for the win, but dog or pass in terms of a play come fight night.
Next fight on the card at men's heavyweight, we have the African Savage, Kennedy Njokuani, going one-on-one with the clean monster, Valter Walker. Njokuani, 14-5 overall, fighting out of Dallas, Texas, but repping Nigeria, 33 years old. Walker, 13-1 overall, fighting out of Russia, but repping Brazil, 27 years old. An interesting fight that I kind of keep going a little back and forth on. Kennedy, former light heavyweight, moved up to heavyweight, has been finding some solid success here in heavyweight. A weight class that I think fits him a bit because he's always going to be the faster guy. He's always going to be a guy who knows how to use his range exceptionally. A little on the low volume side, or maybe not even low volume, but he's a bit of a slow starter. A little frustrating at times because if he just put his striking together early, I think he would find way more success. A guy whose takedown defense is pretty decent, but he's going one-on-one here with Walker, a guy who's Brazilian, but trained in Russia, kind of fights like a Russian. A guy who, when he debuted, came in super sloppy, but every fight since then has been losing about 10, 15 pounds. Physically, he's been looking very good. He's been getting more fit. On paper, it should be Valter Walker here because I think his grappling is something that Njokuani probably hasn't seen. But at the same time, Walker, his striking's a little dog shit. The IQ is questionable. He has 2 back-to-back sub wins, both via heel hook. I'm not a fan of people who go straight to legs in general.
Agreed.
Especially in MMA, because you could just get punched right in the fucking face. I mean, it's super easy to counter. But at heavyweight, I mean, anything fucking goes, right? You can get fucking Kimura submissions in heavyweight and, you know, it's all fucking legit, right? But this is a fight that I'm probably going to stay off of because Valter on paper, if he's fucking locked in, should be able to take Kennedy down, hold him down, and fuck him up on the ground. I'm going to put my faith into the guy who I think is a little more athletic, a little more dynamic, and has a little more upside. So give me Kennedy here for the win. He should get the knockout early, but I can see this fight also going the distance. But that's all I really got for this one.
Everything you said is pretty spot on. I have a hard time believing that Valter is going to be able to win this fight in any stage outside of the wrestling. And I don't think he's like a prolifically good shooter. To be frank, he doesn't shoot his shots well when he's going for takedowns. Kennedy's the better all-around fighter. I think he has the better submission game, especially from the head and arm series. He's the better striker. I'm with you on the Kennedy side here. I just can't play him at minus 240. And I'm not sure what his win condition is going to be. So this fight is literally dog or pass, and I'm more on the pass side just because there's a ton of variables, including Kennedy's IQ.
Kennedy fought Bresky and packed that guy up. Walker fought Bresky, and Bresky looked like fucking Muhammad Ali in there. But the caveat there is that Valter was all of 265, was stupid sloppy, and hasn't really looked that crazy since then.
Yeah, that was his debut, right?
Yes, it was.
Yes, I can't give him too much flack for that. And I'm with you. I would like to see him improve his game a little more. This is almost like a show me spot for him. So with that, I'm going to lean Kennedy, but can't get behind this minus 240 line, man. Sorry, not on Kennedy and Njokuani. I don't know what his win condition is going to be. Is he going to knock him out? Is he going to sub him? Or is he going to go to decision? Because all three are on the table.
Yeah.
They are all on the table. So give me Kenny and Njokuani for the win. Not sure how to play it. Dog or pass. Probably going to pass on this one.
Next fight on the card at women's flyweight, we have the returning Lauren Murphy. Lucky Lauren going one-on-one with Eduarda Moura. Murphy, 16-6 overall, fighting out of Houston, Texas, 41 years old. Moura, 11-1 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 31 years old.
Another fight where the lines don't make any sense.
I'm kind of agreeing with you there. I'll start on the Lauren Murphy side because I think she's probably the more intriguing part of this fight. She's coming off of a 2.5 year layoff. She's not the most dynamic striker. She's not the best grappler. She's not the quickest, most athletic fighter in this division in general. But what she does have is fucking grit. She's tough.
She puts it all together pretty well.
She's a fucking dog. And going one-on-one here with Moura, a girl who's kind of used to being a bully.
Weight bully.
A girl whose striking is, to put it nicely, dog shit, but she uses it to get her grappling going. And that's where she's kind of like aces, right? She'll be able to take you down, hold you down, set up submissions, fish for submissions. That's kind of Moura's game here. As a pick, I kind of have to go Moura here. I mean, she's 10 years younger. She's more athletic. She technically should be quicker here. She technically should be more powerful here. It's tough to have any kind of confidence on the Murphy side, considering it's 2.5 years off, and she's 41. But Moura doesn't really strike me as someone who has that fucking dog in her and might wilt to pressure or wilt or maybe quit. Who knows? I don't know. It's tough. This one's a fucking weird one. Moura's the pick. She should win probably by sub. But in terms of a bet, I mean, depending on how Murphy looks, leading up to the weigh-ins and leading up to the face-off and all that goodness, she's probably not the worst dog pick here. Give me Moura here for the win. Give me Murphy as a possible dog play, but that's all I really got for this one.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I'm with you on a possible dog shot on Murphy. And oof, I hit two. I hit two at the same time, but they're both relevant in this situation.
You're not wrong.
I just think a plus 430 is insane. I know she's been out 2.5 years, but she's fought the better brand of competition. She has the experience edge. She's fucking pretty strong, and Moura kind of gets her wins by just being a weight bully. All she's beaten in this weight class is Veronica Hardy. Before that, she was fighting at 15, which was a weight class she couldn't make, and just bullying those girls. So for me, you beat Veronica Hardy, who should probably be fighting at 15. Then you lose to Denise Gomes, who you can't physically bully. It's just telling. And you've seen how she reacted in that fight when she couldn't get her way with Denise Gomes. So for me, this is a lucky Lauren Murphy. She's going to be a little shorter. I think it's like by an inch. Lauren has the outrageously long arms. I feel like she can cage push, wear her down. I am very curious to see how Lauren's talking this week. And I'm going to make a decision based on that. But ladies and gentlemen, don't be surprised if I make a dog play on her, because I know at 41 years old, I get it, but this is women's MMA, and that line is outrageous for a girl that I think will have some physicality advantages in Lauren Murphy against this girl. And I think she might be able to move Moura around. Yeah, Moura is striking as well, looked a little improved in the Veronica Hardy fight as well, but not to the point where I'm going to feel extremely alarmed that she's going to hurt Lauren, considering Lauren's only really been hurt by Valentina Shevchenko and the biggest puncher pound for pound arguably in women's MMA history in Jessica Andrade. And I feel like that was a fight where she got hurt early and she couldn't fully recover for the rest of the fight. It's not like she just took a beating and she was there, but she couldn't adjust to it. I think her body was on autopilot for that fight. Corner probably should have stopped it. I am worried about that as well too. Once again, I just think that the line is a little outrageous. Give me Lauren Murphy as a possible dog play here, and as the lean.
Next fight on the card at men's welterweight, we have the Celtic Kid, Jake Matthews, going one-on-one with Chidi, Bang Bang, and Njokuani. Matthews, 21-7 overall, fighting out of Melbourne, Australia, repping Australia, 30 years old. Bang Bang is 25-10 overall, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, 36 years old. This is another intriguing fight that I think is going to be closer than most people anticipate. Ever since Njokuani's made this cut down to 170, dude has extreme advantages both in height and reach. He's been quite a force down since he's moved down. I think if the fight gets into the clinch, he's going to win that. Njokuani has decent takedown defense. Nobody's really been able to drag him down to the ground in this division. Jake Matthews, a guy who's probably capable of taking him down, doesn't really go to the wrestling as much. He might be the better boxer. I think what makes this matchup intriguing is that if Jake can find a way in, work the body, and maybe touch Chidi's chin, which is still, you know, at this weight class a little questionable because this guy does pack some power, he could find a knockout here. At the same time, this is Chidi, in which I did try to fade against Dos Santos, and that one ended up biting me in the ass. This is a fight where I think Matthews can do what Elizu couldn't do, so I kind of go back and forth. I kind of want to go Chidi here, but that might be the fan in me. I think I'm gonna bite the bullet here. I think Jake Matthews probably gets this one done, but I'm very on the fence about it. Give me Jake Matthews here for the win. Probably by decision, but I'm not too confident in that one.
Yeah, I'm with you here, and so is Vegas. Vegas seems to be a little at odds with this too. This fight's lined at a pick'em, and that makes sense. And there's a lot of variables in this fight. There's a fight that I typically wouldn't bet on just because I think, to your point, Chidi butchers him in the clinch. I think Chidi also probably butchers him at range. Jake, the better inside fighter, better wrestler, but Chidi has improved his takedown defense. And I wouldn't even say improved. I think he's just able to use his gifts a little more effectively in this weight class because he's not getting overpowered by 85ers. Kevin Holland syndrome, that's what I'm gonna call it. So for me, I'm gonna lean Chidi here. And this is just for a podcast pick, but I don't know if I have a lot of interest in betting this fight. It's strictly a dog or pass spot, to be frank, but it's literally lined at a pick'em, so not really a dog or pass either way. But I'm gonna lean Chidi just because I think I like more of the improvements I've seen from him, where Jake is still kind of cruising past mediocre fighters doing the same shit. His IQ falling off a cliff is like in the batter's box while he's batting right now. Like, you know, so it's just one of these fights where he's gonna fuck up and he's gonna make you look stupid for picking him. So Chidi, I don't really have to depend on that. I think Chidi's either gonna get finished or he's going to finish. And I like that in a fighter. That's why I'm leaning Chidi, but like my brother on the Jake Matthews side, not with a high degree of confidence. High variable fight, probably a pass spot for the most part, but we'll see come closer to fight time and how this line develops.
Next fight on the card at men's welterweight, we have the action man, Chris Curtis, going one-on-one with Max Payne Griffin. Curtis, 31-12 overall, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, 37 years old. Griffin, 20-11 overall, fighting out of Sacramento, California, 39 years old. Another intriguing fight with two guys who, even though they're on the older side, they both have something left in the tank. They both have some juice. This is a fight where I think it's Chris Curtis's to lose. And the reason I say that is because I think he's the better striker overall. He's definitely the better counter striker. Max Payne is probably better in terms of just MMA because he'll mix in the grappling with his striking. A guy who's been kind of underrated and overrated. The typical journeyman shit, right? But
he's a tweener, yeah.
Both guys can be considered tweeners, right? Max is not going to be able to get his grappling going, in my opinion here. I mean, Chris Curtis, if I had to guess, around 80% when it comes to takedown defense.
Immaculate takedown defense.
The only guy to really take him down with any kind of real success was like Brandon Allen, and Brandon Allen is just a huge guy. Curtis, I do worry about his chin just a little bit because he did get finished in this last fight against Kopylov, but even in that one, you can argue it was like 1 second left in the third round. They probably could have let that go, and he wasn't really completely out, but he did get rocked.
It was bad. Yeah.
It was bad, but he was bitching. He was bitching. He hates that ref. I forgot the name of the ref. Mark Smith. Oh, he was like, it's always you. Fuck you. He was going off on that dude. That'd be hilarious if Mark Smith's the referee here.
Mark Smith's gonna be like, I got my eye on you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
he's already gonna be in fucking Chris Curtis's head if he's the ref.
He's gonna be like Kim Kardashian behind the bushes. Like, just waiting. Just waiting.
Yep. Another thing I worried about Chris is that he's low volume, and this fight is probably gonna go to decision. Curtis is gonna be the side here for me. Curtis by decision, and it's probably gonna be sweaty because that he's low volume, and I don't think he's gonna get Max out of there because Max is historically durable.
Yeah, I'm with you on the dog or pass spot. I think the value is on Max as well too, because Max is much more high volume than Curtis. Can keep him on the outside, knows how to use the teep kick to the legs, knows how to work behind the jab. I'm gonna lean Curtis for the win here, but man, not with a high degree of confidence. This fight has split decision written all over it. That's something I may take a look at because Curtis always just seems to make his fights interesting like that. I don't know why. I think he's much more talented than that.
I agree.
And if he actually took more risk, he probably would have more success at this level. And he kind of has a Sean Strickland thing going for him. I just think he hits a little harder than Sean, right? So I'm going to lean Curtis for the win here, but man, not with a high degree of confidence. Max can definitely steal this low-key, be a split decision, but I'm going to trust Curtis at this stage of his career, and Curtis is going to be the lean for that reason.
Next fight on the card at men's light heavyweight, we have Junior Tafa, the Juggernaut, going one-on-one with Tuco Tokkos. Tafa, 6-3 overall, fighting out of Australia, repping Australia, 28 years old. Tokkos, 10-5 overall, fighting out of Deerfield Beach, Florida, but repping the UK, 35 years old. Kind of a weird fight to break down, and a fight that I'm probably not going to be interested in from a betting perspective. Just going to put my cards on the table. Tafa, former heavyweight, making his debut at light heavyweight.
Oh, I don't like that.
I like it and don't like it. One, I don't know if he's going to be able to make the weight. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
He's big, dude.
I understand why he's making the weight cut down. I guess he just doesn't want to be in the same division as his older brother. His shorter brother, but his older brother, Justin Tafa.
Smaller, bigger brother.
AKA you reach, I teach. You know what I'm saying? Tafa, technically, he is the better striker. He's got the kickboxing background. He's able to throw dynamically his kicks. I question the IQ. I question the cardio. The cardio should theoretically improve with the weight cut down. His weakness is grappling. And when I say grappling, I mean defensively grappling. You can take this man down. You can control him. Is Tuco the guy to do it, though? Tuco does have the grappling. His entries are not the best. But if he gets you down, he can scramble. I do trust his cardio more. I don't trust his striking. It's not the greatest. I don't trust Tuco's chin. It's not the greatest. I don't trust his IQ either.
It's not the greatest.
It's not the greatest. Low level light heavyweight fight, high variance. You probably want to stay off of this from a betting perspective, but I'm gonna pick Junior Tafa here for the win. I think he does get the knockout. I do think the cardio will improve here, but probably not that much. I think the deeper this fight goes, the more of an advantage Tuco has. If you like the Tuco side, it's probably a live bet. You need to see Tafa slow down first. I think he will have more success as Tafa begins to slow down, but I think Tuco gets knocked the fuck out here. Give me the Juggernaut here to reach and teach on Tuco.
Horrible fighter. Horrible fighter.
Yes.
I'm with you on Tafa here, even though he's horrible, as my man Canelo said, but not with a high degree of confidence. I like the unders for this fight because I think there's just such dramatic differences in the levels on the floor versus the feet between these two contestants. Tafa, I think, is going to knock him out, though, because he's a humongous human being. I don't think he's going to make 205. I'd be very surprised.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised. He's a big dude.
Yeah, I think he probably could. I mean, these kickboxers are kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're able to get that cardio in, and
I'm not convinced.
He might walk in with some abs. He might be on Ozempic. Who the fuck knows, man? Right?
I gotta wait to see how this fight looks. Like not even fight, like weigh-ins and things of that nature. So Top is gonna have a dramatic size advantage, I would assume. Like, so for me, it's like I think Top is gonna knock him out. But if you're asking me, unders. I'm curious to see what they look like, but that's the only way I play this. Top is the lean. Don't want to give this fight too much life because this fight is pretty bad on paper. Probably going to be pretty bad in real life too. So may not play it, may not even want to watch it, to be frank. So we'll move on from this one to bigger and better things. Tafa for the lean.
Next fight on the card at heavyweight, we have Vitor Petrino going one-on-one with Austen Lane. Petrino, 11-2 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 27 years old. Lane, 13-6 overall, fighting out of Jacksonville, Florida, 37 years old. Now, I know on the previous fight you said we're going to move on to bigger and better things. I don't think so.
Yeah, I meant further in the card.
Horrible fighter. Horrible fighter.
You did nail the bigger things, though, because now we have Vitor Petrino here, a guy who is moving up from 205, making his debut at heavyweight. Petrino, a guy who came in with, high expectations, at least from, a lot of people's perspectives, right? Turns out he's not the world beater that people thought he was going to be, but the guy is still fucking extremely gifted, extremely athletic, and moving up a weight class here to 205 is probably going to suit him. And it does suit his style a bit because he could turn his fucking brain off at heavyweight. It fits his whole unga bunga style of I'm just going to get in on your ass and take you down, or just going to swing for the fucking fences, right? Austen Lane on the other side, a guy who is athletic in his own right, a huge fucking human being, and a guy that, even though his fucking chin is a dustpan, has shown marginal improvements in the grappling in particular.
Yes.
That's where he wants this fight. that's where he could probably get this fight down. I think if he gets on top of Petrino, he could probably hold Petrino down. But Petrino, the more athletic, gifted individual, I think his jiu-jitsu should be able to get him out of that kind of situation. Also, Petrino should be able to just fucking straight up bonk him. He's going to be the quicker guy moving up. Give me Petrino here for the win in a fight that's another low-level fight that I don't know if I want to have any kind of particular action on, but a fight that Petrino probably should get done. I mean, he's going to be 10 years younger, I think. Is he 10 years younger? 27 to 30. Yep, 10 years younger. Heavyweight is probably going to be a good home for Petrino. Give me Petrino here for the win. I say via KO.
Yeah, I'm with you on Petrino here. I think Petrino melts him, to be frank. I think Austen Lane, he's a one-trick pony. You got to hope his gas can hold up for more than 2 or 3 rounds because I don't see him getting the finish here. I see him winning a decision if you're going to play him. But the thing is, Petrino is a little fraudish. Got exposed by Anthony Smith, taking him down, got caught in a guillotine, and then got melted by Jacoby. Ching Ching made us a ton of money that night because we faded Petrino against Jacoby, and
yes,
we called the knockout as well. So this is a big step down in competition for him. This is a guy that he should beat in Austen Lane. I think Austen Lane, as physically gifted as he is, he's just limited as a fighter. I don't know if it's because he doesn't tuck his chin or it's because he doesn't have a chin. I think I'm going to lean the latter here. He tries to hide it behind that beard. They find it anyway. I think Petrino finds it again. He goes digging in that beard, finds that soft spot on it, puts him into the mat, finishes him with some hard hammer fist to close the bout. I think Austen Lane might get his walking papers after this, unfortunately. So give me Petrino here for the knockout.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have the Train. Nate the Train Landwehr going one-on-one with the last Pirate, Morgan Charrière. Landwehr, 18-6 overall, fighting out of Clarksville, Tennessee, 37 years old. Charrière, 20-11-1 overall, fighting out of France, hailing from France, 29 years old. Interesting fight to break down here because I think Charrière is the favorite. He probably should be the favorite. Both journeymen. Charrière in this particular matchup should have him covered everywhere. I think he's the more athletic guy. I think he's the better striker. He's probably the better grappler. But this is Nate the fucking Train we're talking about here. And Nate might not be the quickest, but Nate does crack. Nate, underrated submission game. Nate fucking dog. And the only way I like to bet Nate is when he's at dog money. He's sitting at dog money. From a bet, I'm probably going to entertain this one. I'm still kind of thinking it over because, again, Charrière does have him covered everywhere. Charrière did lose his last fight to a smaller individual who is an underrated striker in his own right, but does have power. So the chin, you got me thinking about it a little bit. Charrière's fight to lose, he should win, probably by decision, but this is dog or pass. I'm seriously considering a Nate the Train ITD, but that's all I got for this one.
Yeah, I think as a dog play, sure. The ITD is a little because I think Charrière is like hard to finish. I think he's super experienced and this and that. But if you ask me, I like this fight from a live bet perspective. I can't get behind Charrière at -240, but I can get behind Nate in the second round. So for me, it's like this is a live bet or pass fight, you know? So I think he's probably going to drop the first round because Nate's naturally a slow starter. But man, as this fight continues going forward, this dude gets downhill on you. He can do some real fucking damage. So I'm gonna pick Charrière because I think he has the better skills and the better tools. Pause. But I think Nate, from a live bet standpoint, I'm fucking all in for it, especially if it gets up to like plus 900 or 800 or something. Yeah, sprinkle, because he can definitely steal the last 2 rounds of this fight for sure if he gets super downhill on him. So Morgan's the lean, possible live bet dog entry on Nate.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have the Boston finisher, pause, Calvin Kattar going one-on-one with the Mean Machine, Steve Garcia. Kattar, 23-9 overall, fighting out of Massachusetts, 37 years old. Garcia, 17-5 overall, fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, 33 years old. Another very interesting fight on this card where Kattar, on one end, hasn't had a win in a long time. I think he's on a 4-fight losing streak. And then we got Garcia on the other end, who's, I think, got a 5-fight knockout streak going on. And a little bit on the upswing for Garcia here, but Garcia hasn't fought a guy with the experience that Kattar possesses and as durable as Kattar either. I think from a betting perspective, I think the overs are a little sneaky here.
Yes.
I don't know if Garcia is going to be able to pack up Kattar as easily as his previous opponents. Kattar, on the other end, I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up with Garcia's dynamic approach. He should be able to probably stop Garcia's grappling game. This should be a fight that primarily stays on the feet, but Garcia is uber aggressive, which helps and hurts his game. Will expose him. Kattar is going to be the better, more technical striker here. I'm going to lean Steve Garcia, but this fight's going to be a little sweaty. I think over 1.5, if they set it, is probably a decent spot here. In terms of a pick, I'm going to say Steve Garcia here via submission or decision.
I'll be honest, the way they set that over 1.5 or 2.5 is going to tell you what Vegas thinks about this fight. That's the best way to say it. Steve Garcia hasn't seen a third round since God knows how long. For me, this is a fight where I think Kattar can steal this. Low key, I think, and I'm gonna lean him as the dog here for podcast sake, but not with a high degree of confidence because I don't know what he's thinking or where he's at emotionally or physically at this point in his career. He's fought big punchers before. He fought Josh Emmett. I thought he won that fight. I thought he got fucking robbed. And he was able to manage Josh for 5 rounds. He's survived Holloway, you know, and Holloway put a fucking walloping on him, man. And it was bad. It was hard to watch. But outside of that, he lost to Aljo, who just grappled him. And then Arnold Allen, he blew out his knee. And he had his success in that first round before he blew out his knee in the second. So I think Kattar can take 2 of these rounds if he looks like the Calvin of old. You gotta kind of hope for that though, which is why I don't know if I have a ton of interest betting this fight, but I'm gonna lean Kattar just because I think he has the skills to give Steve a lot of trouble. You gotta, if you're betting Steve, I think you bet him for the knockout because I don't know if he's gonna win the minutes in this. I don't know what he looks like in the third round. I don't know what his gas tank is considering his super aggressive style. There's a guy who kind of shows his ass on some of his strikes. You kind of know what's coming. Kattar is a seasoned striker who knows how to put together his elbows as well as his boxing, and he's probably going to have the grappling upside in this fight, which is a little insane if you think about it.
Interesting.
You know, I'm not going to count on him to wrestle, but I'm not sure Steve is a good wrestler. I haven't seen it. I'm going to lean Kattar here as a dog, but man, not with a high degree of confidence considering what his last couple of performances have looked like. And particularly the Aljo fight, he just looked like a guy that took off for a long time and may have his foot in or out of the door of this sport at this point. So I did see him on that commercial choking out Rob Font the other day. So maybe he's in. I don't know.
Maybe.
You know, so I'm there. I'm going to lean Kattar. Give me Kattar as the play here.
Next fight on the card at men's welterweight, we have Wonder Boy Stephen Thompson going one-on-one with Gabriel Bonfim. Thompson, 17-8-1 overall, fighting out of Simpsonville, South Carolina, 42 years old. Bonfim, 17-1 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 27 years old. This fight's the co-main event, and Wonder Boy has unfortunately become the fighter that they are going to try to set up other fighters for. On the feet's always going to be interesting because Wonder Boy, no matter how old he is, that karate stance is very difficult to deal with. He's going to be in and out. He's dynamic with all levels of his striking. Bonfim, not the best striker, but he's a patient fighter. He does pack a punch. It's not going to look as easy as the way Buckley kind of made that fight look.
And not really, because Buckley was losing, to be frank with you.
But Buckley was able to touch Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and put him away. Bonfim does have that capability. Wonderboy, as of late, has shown that you can get to his body because he's not as quick as he used to be. Bonfim, deadly submission artist. I think Bonfim wins this fight. It's kind of crazy fading Wonderboy, but he is 42. I mean, there's like a 12, 14, 15. I don't know how fucking the year age difference in this one is crazy. And Bonfim's not a dumb fighter, but he will go dummy on him. Give me Bonfim here for the win via submission. I think that's the way this fight's going to look. And it's just going to suck seeing Wonderboy getting packed up.
Yeah, believe it or not, I'm more on the dog here.
Ooh.
And I can't get behind this line because Gabriel Bonfim, I can't trust that he's going to be there for all 3 rounds. He's a gas bag. We faded him against Dalby. We knew what was going to happen in that fight. I called it, made a ton of money on that fight. And the reason being is because if you can present some resistance to his wrestling, he gasses. Wonderboy, historically difficult to take down. Took Shavkat all of 2 rounds to get him down. Couldn't get him down the first round. You're telling me if this fight gets out of the second round, or out of the first round rather, it's not going to be interesting? I think it is.
I mean, I hear where you're coming from, but I think it's The Bonfim is going to have Father Time on his side in this one. I think this is going to be a 2-on-1 fight against Wonder Boy.
Absolutely. Damn, that's hilarious. I'm with you, but we're also comparing Bonfim to Buckley. Buckley, dynamic striker.
Yeah.
Covers ground fast. Much faster than Bonfim, and is the better striker. And Buckley can wrestle. Does present the wrestling threat, too. Bonfim only presents one of those. Yeah, he can crack, but you got to hope he can catch him, which a lot of people in this division haven't been able to. I know he's 42. It also took Buckley when? How long did it take Buckley to find Stephen Wonderboy's chin? It took him to the 3rd round, and he was losing that fight. So if Buckley doesn't connect on him, Buckley loses that fight via decision. I'm on Wonderboy here, man.
I hear where you're coming from.
And by the way, the other thing, look who he's lost to. Gilbert Burns, former title contender. Bilal Muhammad, champion. Shavkat, future champion. Buckley, title contender. And low-key, I think Buckley, after this Kamaru Usman fight recently, is going to get better. So it's not a bad loss to have on your resume. Lost to Pettis, okay. That was I don't want to say it was a fluke, but he beat Till. And he lost to Till, but he beat Till. If you look at how that fight went, I thought he pointed Till. You could argue for Till. I'm not mad at it. Lost to T-Wood, champion. I mean, and by the way, Till also title contender. Anthony Pettis, champion at 55, a weight class below. So you have to, I'm looking at it from that standpoint in terms of he's only really lost to the top guys. Is Bonfim that guy? I don't think so. I'm not sold on him. I'm not sold on either one of the Bonfim brothers. I'm not. And you're giving me Wonder Boy at plus 310? My guy. I just think it's there for the picking. And this is a guy who has historically good takedown defense, is working with Chris Weidman currently still probably, on his wrestling. And I know Weidman's washed too, but if you're asking me, like, this guy has done years and years with Weidman. I know his takedown defense is going to still be there even if he's not working with him. I'm with Wonder Boy here, man. I think Bonfim gets exposed and then he becomes the guy that the UFC feeds to other young contenders to prove their worth, so he gets fed, so for me, this is Wonder Boy's fight to lose. I think Bonfim's going to have a hard time getting him to the floor. That's where I'm at with this. And don't get me wrong, if it gets to the floor, Bonfim's going to sub him. He's filthy on the floor. But I'm just saying, getting Wonder Boy to the floor, catching Wonder Boy, he is the chicken that Sylvester Stallone couldn't catch in Rocky. He's too fast. Grease lightning fast, you know what I'm saying? So even at 42, I think he's going to give him a lot of trouble. So give me Wonder Boy for the lean here. Give me Wonder Boy as a possible dog shot here.
Next fight on the card at men's heavyweight and is currently constituted the main event of the evening. We have the Black Beast, Derrick Lewis, going 1-on-1 with Tallison Teixeira. Lewis, 28-12 overall, fighting out of Houston, Texas, 40 years old. Teixeira, perfect. 8-0, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 25 years old.
Where them Texas boys at?
Oh, man. This fight is very intriguing because big fan of the Black Beast here.
Who isn't?
Who isn't a fan of the Black Beast? You must hate MMA if you do not like the knockout king himself, Derrick Lewis.
Might hate yourself.
You might hate yourself. Now, from a betting perspective, I can see why he might be a little frustrating, right? Because the man is extremely low volume. Derrick Lewis will deadass just stare at you for 4 minutes, only to throw one punch and put anybody's lights out. The way I'm kind of reading this fight is that I think it does end in KO. I don't think this fight is going to touch 3 rounds. It might not even touch 2. The reason I say that is because Teixeira, he's a young and up-and-coming prospect. They're kind of throwing him in the fire here, but I get why. He's dynamic. I think he's going to have the cardio edge here. He's definitely going to have the volume edge here. He's not afraid to walk forward. He's not afraid to use all his length and all his reach and all his size. And everything the man throws hurts. His leg kicks hurt. His punches hurt. Derrick Lewis, 40 years old, doesn't have the greatest mobility as a big man. Does have get up jitsu. So if you get him down, the man will just find a way to just get the fuck up.
And it's not Craig Jones' octopus stand-up.
But no, it's not.
It's not that.
But Teixeira also not afraid to go shoot a takedown. Also probably better on the ground. Not even better. He probably is better on the ground. Will fish for some subs. I'm going to be picking Teixeira here for the win. I just think that you can never count Derrick Lewis out of any fight. Even at 40 years old, the last thing to go is power. And that man has fucking hammers in his hands. This fight will end in KO. This fight should not, and I repeat, should not go 3 rounds. They don't need 5 rounds for this one. But Teixeira is too young, too strong, too dynamic, too talented. And yeah, sure, you can make the argument that the guy has only really fought cans, but he's been fucking packing guys up. He makes sure that these cans look like cans.
Yeah, he's doing what he's supposed to do.
Interesting fight. It's going to be fun for 30 seconds probably. And this fight should end in KO, but give me the young and up-and-coming guy in Teixeira to win. And it's going to suck to see Black Beast go down, but you can never count the man out. From a betting perspective, could be a little scary, but fuck it. Give me Teixeira.
Yeah, I want you on Teixeira. I think he put his combinations a little better together. And that's I'm going to leave it just at that. I don't want to get too much into this fight. I feel like you did a very good job in terms of just breaking down the dynamics of all the variables that are included in this contest. It's pretty straight and clear. You know, I think that Teixeira is just cleaner. And he's a humongous human being too. So Derrick can always land on him. But if you're asking me, I think Teixeira, they're feeding him early because I think they have somewhat of high expectations for him. And I do think they think this hill he can overcome, considering Black Beast is on the back end of his career and has made some questionable decisions in his last couple of contests. I think this fight's probably going to end in knockout. I think Teixeira gets it done. I think Teixeira packs him up inside 2.
And that does it for UFC Nashville. Now moving right along to the sweet science. We're going to start with the all-ladies card. And we're going to kick it off with Shurretta Metcalf going one-on-one with Shanika Johnson. And this is for the undisputed female bantamweight title. Metcalf, 14-4-1 overall, fighting out of Dallas, Texas, 40 years old. Johnson, 17-2 overall, currently fighting out of New Zealand, repping New Zealand, 30 years old.
Yeah, this is Sugar Neek's fight to lose. I think this is a setup fight from her last couple of contests. Like, I feel like they're rebuilding her back up after her loss. She won her last 2 fights, won by majority, controversial majority, then stopped the same girl the second fight. This is a girl in Metcalf who's 40 years old, knows how to manage distance pretty well, but not the biggest puncher. The reason I'm leaning Shanika in this fight is because I think Shanika is going to be hard to keep off, to be frank. I think Shanika, the only issue I have with her sometimes is that she smothers her work. She gets 2 in and she'll start like smothering her punches and not really getting full extension on some of her shots. But this is a girl that she should be able to walk down freely, should be able to close the range, make the fight dirty, which she does. She's a entertaining fighter for the most part. This is a girl in Metcalf, I feel like more fight experience, but she's 40. She's gonna be defensively sound enough to not get knocked out in this fight or stopped. I probably will look at 9 through 12 out of curiosity to see what the line looks like, because I feel like Shanika can bury her with pressure. Well, then again, no, not 9 through 12, ladies and gentlemen, because this is women's boxing, which I don't understand. It should be 9 through 12. I'm gonna say 7 through 10, obviously, to see what those lines look like. But this is Shanika's fight to lose. I think she walks it down. I think she makes it dirty. Give me Shanika Johnson by decision here. Pay attention to all our social media platforms for any possible plays in terms of stoppages 7, 8, 9, and 10. But for the most part, I think this fight goes to decision just because of Metcalf's defensive prowess.
Next fight on the card for the interim WBC World Female Super Lightweight title, we have Chantel Cameron going one-on-one with Jessica Camara. Cameron, 20-1 overall, fighting out of Northampton, England, 34 years old. Camara is 14-4-1, fighting out of Canada, hailing from Canada, 37 years old.
Yeah, this fight is a little more interesting in terms of a betting standpoint. I'm curious to see what Chantel's knockouts is, because there's a couple of things here. She's going to be younger. She's going to be bigger. She is going to be quicker. Because Camara, one thing I don't like about her is her hand speed. I think her hand speed is like, for someone her size and the way she looks, you would think it's a lot faster, and it's not. And the skill differential is like vastly different here. This is a girl in Chantel Cameron. We made money off the first fight when she was a dog against Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor did avenge that fight, did look impressive, did win it. All credit to her. I think there's a girl in Camara that probably doesn't belong in the ring with her. To be frank, not to sound terrible. Most people are probably going to lean decision here. I think there's a high possibility Cameron could probably find the stoppage here if she really wants to go for it. And considering this is the Katie Taylor card, she might want to make a statement and really stand out from the pack. We'll see how we get closer to fight time in terms of like how we feel and how they're talking and listening to the interviews and things of that nature. But I have a strong feeling that Cameron's going to find a knockout here. Give me Chantel Cameron by knockout. Even though it is a women's fight, I just think she's going to overwhelm her to the point where the corner's going to step in or the referee's going to step in. So give me Cameron here by knockout.
Next fight on the card for the Ring Magazine, the IBF World and the WBO World female super middleweight titles. We have Savannah Marshall going one-on-one with Shadasia Green. The Silent Assassin, Marshall, is 13-1 overall. Fighting out of England, rep in England, 34 years old. Green, a.k.a. the Sweet Terminator, is 15-1 overall. Fighting out of Patterson, New Jersey, 35 years old.
Yeah, this is probably the most interesting fight on the card outside of the main event. I think that the line is a little considering Shadasia Green is probably the biggest puncher Savannah Marshall has fought. People are going to say Clarissa Shields. Clarissa Shields is by far the better boxer, but in terms of pure power, Shadasia Green cracks. So for me, Savannah Marshall, after watching her fight footage, I'm going to lean her because she has the better boxing acumen. She does move her head a lot more than I remember, which is good for this contest in particular. Did give Clarissa Shields some trouble in terms of like some of the angles and being able to land her damage. But this is a fight where, man, if Shadasia was able to catch her, I'm not going to be surprised. Shadasia is a counterpuncher. She did not look good in her last fight against Wapul, where she did fight to a split decision. But this is also a girl that has improved in increments after every fight. She did lose to Dezun. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name incorrectly, who Savannah Marshall did beat. I'm going to lean Savannah to get this done, probably via decision, because it seems like after the last couple of fights, Savannah and Shadasia haven't been able to stop their opponents. And they're both on the older side, so I feel like they're going to be a little more cautious with this. But if you're asking me, it's also a situation where I could easily see unders hitting in this fight. I think this is a value play fight. The Savannah Marshall to get dropped prop is something I'm looking at. The knockdowns in this fight is something I'm looking at, because even though they didn't get stoppages their last one or two fights, they both pack power. They both can get finishes. They both have historically gotten finishes as female fighters, which is not something you see to a dramatic effect amongst women fighters in general. It's something I'm going to wait till fight time. I'm going to lean Savannah just because she's the more technical boxer, and I think she's going to be able to land her damage while not taking as much damage. Man, if Shadasia knocks her out, I'm not going to be surprised here. I'm looking at a whole bunch of props for this. Knockdowns, unders. We'll see how it gets closer to fight time. I definitely want to see interviews, weigh-ins. This is something I'm going to be studying intricately, because I do feel like there might be some value close to the fight time for this fight. The official lean is going to be Savannah via decision, but man, this may dramatically change throughout the week. Pay attention to us on all social media platforms and tune in, and we'll let you know how we feel close to the fight time.
Next fight on the card for the Ring, for the WBC World, for the IBF World, and for the WBO World Super Bantamweight titles. We have Ellie Scottney going one-on-one with Yamileth Mercado. Scottney is perfect, 10-0. Fighting out of England, rep in England, 27 years old. Mercado is 24-3 overall. Fighting out of Mexico, rep in Mexico, 27 years old.
Yeah, this is Ellie Scottney's fight to lose. She's probably going to win it via decision, and that's going to be the official lean, probably / play or parlay piece for this podcast. She's not a big puncher. She's a very good technical boxer. She's going to have success at range, and I think she's a little quicker than Yamileth, particularly at this part of their careers. Yamileth, not a big puncher as well. Pretty good on the boxing IQ edge. She knows how to exit properly. She makes good defensive and offensive decisions. But this is an Ellie Scottney who has a win over Shanika Johnson, who we had talked about previously and is going to be featured earlier on this card. But I feel like Ellie Scottney is the goods. I feel like she has a lot of good boxing acumen, and she's going to be able to apply it and win these belts on this night. Give me Ellie Scottney by decision here. This is totally her fight to lose. That's the official play and via decision.
Next fight on the card, and as currently constituted the co-main event for this particular card, for the undisputed female super featherweight title, we have Alicia Bumgarner going one-on-one with Jennifer Miranda. The Bomb Bumgarner, 15-1 overall. Find out of Fremont, Ohio, 31 years old. Miranda, perfect, 12-0. Find out of Spain, rep in Spain, 38 years old.
Yeah, this is a fight where I feel like Alicia Bumgarner might be in line for a knockout. And for a couple of reasons. I feel like this is a fight that she might want to stand out a bit, put her flag on the floor for the winner of the main event, either Katie Taylor or Amanda Serrano. She probably should fight both of them, to be frank. Katie Taylor probably sooner than later because I feel like she's looking for a way out of the sport at this point. Jennifer Miranda's 38 years old, hasn't really fought anybody, to be frank. Was on the Money Heist show. Me and my brother found out the other day, which is hilarious. She was on, I think, for a season or an episode. I can't remember what it was, but I question her commitment to fighting. She's only had 12 fights at 38 years old. Had a whole bunch of exhibition fights in between, lost practically all of them by decision. She's not a big puncher, even though she does have good skill in terms of how she moves her feet, cutting angles, and I'm not saying she's a bad fighter. I just think when you're going against a world-class fighter like Alicia Bumgarner, who historically is a decision machine, I'm also looking at the knockdowns in this fight. She drops almost everyone she fights. She has power, particularly early, but this is a fight with Jennifer where I feel like experience, championship medal, power, youth, all on Alicia's side, and this is a big step up in competition for the older fighter, which is crazy. So for me, give me Alicia Bumgarner. I'm going to go by stoppage here. I'm going to go on a whim here. Depending on how the line looks and what it looks like, we'll see how we cut it up and bake it come fight time, but I have a feeling she's going to find a way to get Mercado out of there, even though Mercado does make good defensive decisions. This is just a tremendous step up in competition from the nobodies and the cans that she has fought predominantly throughout her career. Give me Alicia Bumgarner by knockout here.
Next fight on the card, and is currently constituted the main event for this particular fight card for the undisputed female super lightweight title. We have the run back to back. The third time is a charm. Maybe, maybe not. Katie Taylor going one-on-one with Amanda Serrano. Taylor, 24-1 overall, fighting out of Ireland, 39 years old. Serrano, the real deal, 47-3-1 overall, fighting out of Brooklyn, 36 years old.
Yeah, probably fight of the weekend, probably going to be fight of the year candidate once again. This is a fight where it should be 1-1 heading into this trilogy. I gave Serrano both fights, but I could understand the argument for the first fight. The second fight, in my opinion, was as fucking highway robbery as it gets. To be frank, she landed over 100 more punches than Katie throughout the course of that contest, and somehow they managed to give Katie the decision after a point deduction. I don't know. I don't know. The lean here is going to be Serrano. It's in New York, even though the first fight was in New York, but I do feel like Serrano has kind of figured out what to do in this fight. Katie is declining. She looked like less of a fighter the second fight than the first fight. She's going to be the bigger girl, but I don't know from a betting standpoint if I want to get involved just because of the fucking crooked judges that might be judging this contest. It is New York. They're doing Amanda every favor. She should be able to put out the same or close to the same of the amount of volume as she did the second fight because she was able to cut through Katie's defenses a little better and get to her earlier, even hurt her in the first round. Katie, too scared to take this fight and make it 3 minute 12 rounds because she knows it just gives Amanda more time to work. It favors the puncher. I don't care what Katie says, but I think Amanda's gonna figure out a way to get this done this fight. I don't think she knocks her out. I think Katie's too smart to get knocked out, but I do feel like the judges will write this story correctly and give Amanda the rightful nod. But once again, this is a fight I don't know if I want to get involved in, like just because we've seen how this fight goes. She was sitting at a minus 220 the last fight when it finished. She won the fight and still lost. She still got a minus 150. Do I want to lay the juice on someone that might get robbed? I don't know. But it's Boricuas all day this weekend. And I'm leaning with my girl here. I think she's going to figure it out. I think she's going to land the more convincing shots throughout the contest. I think she's the one that has to make more adjustments. And if she's looking at the fight footage, she will make more of those adjustments. And I think she's going to throw more punches and land more punches with more ferocity. So give me Amanda Serrano here to win via decision.
Moving right along from Manhattan to Queens, from an all-women's card to a predominantly all-men's card, we have another banger of a card from Queensberry. We'll kick it off with David Morrell going one-on-one with Iman Katayev. Morrell, 11-1 overall, fighting out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, but repping Cuba, 27 years old. Katayev, perfect. 10-0, fighting out of Sydney, New South Wales, but repping Russia, 30 years old.
Yeah, this is a very interesting fight for the first maybe 1 to 4 rounds. Imam, dynamic big puncher, like has real power. And he's like built like a fire hydrant. Short, jacked, throws with ill intentions. The problem is after the 4th or 5th round, he kind of starts to slow down. There's a guy in David Morrell that went hand-to-hand combat, Mortal Kombat with David Benavidez, and was able to land damage on the Benavidez. He's going to have the height and reach advantage here. Imam, I think, is going to have a hard time finding him because Morrell makes very good defensive decisions for the most part. He's going to have to fight on the inside, and then he's going to try to have to not gas out in between. I think it's a lot too soon for the more or less inexperienced fighter here in Imam. He only has, I think, 10 fights. There's a guy in Morrell who has had a bunch of amateur fights in the Cuban boxing system, and a guy who has the better brand of competition in the professional level. Big puncher. He's gonna be just as fast, if not quicker. He's bigger. I think Morrell finds a knockout here probably in the mid to late rounds here. This is a fight where I feel like Imam, a little too much too soon. I would have loved to see this fight maybe 10 fights from now, or maybe even 5 fights from now, where Imam could prepare a little properly and show me a little bit more. But from what I've seen, I think it's going to be a rough night at the office. I think David Morrell gets him out of there mid to late rounds.
Next fight on the card for the WBC World Super Lightweight title, we have Alberto Puello going one-on-one with Subriel Matias. Puello, perfect. 24-0. Fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, but repping the Dominican Republic. 30 years old. Matias, 22-2 overall. Fighting out of Puerto Rico. 33 years old.
So it's the first time in a while that we've had a classic Puerto Rico versus Dominican Republic match.
And it's going down in Queens.
And I love this fight. I love this fight for a lot of reasons. But man, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm Boricua. But this is a fight where I gotta lean Puello. And I gotta lean Puello for a couple of reasons.
Blasphemy, but... and it's crazy because Puello's sitting as a dog, which is insane. It's lined as a pick'em. And I get why it's lined as a pick'em, because if Subriel gets downhill on anybody, he is going to put fucking damage on you, and he's going to hurt you and get you the fuck out of there. The problem is he's going against a master boxer here in Puello who knows how to use his feet, has a good right hand himself, has decent power that can keep you honest to walking him down, circles the ring, knows how to use his feet, has fought the better brand of competition, did beat Sandor Martin controversially in his last contest. I picked him to win that fight. I knew that fight was going to be close. I knew Sandor would be the one who was going to be the bull in that fight, while Puello presented himself as the matador. I feel like it's going to be a lot of the same here, because Matias in his last couple of contests since losing to Liam Paro, who has laid out the blueprint to beating this guy, has not improved. His feet are still all over the place. He punches over his feet. This is a guy in Puello who I think can give Liam Paro a run for his money, knows when to hug the fighter to avoid damage, knows when to stay back, can fight comfortably with his back against the ropes. I think that's why it's lined so close, because they feel like if he stands in the corner, Subriel's going to be able to get his offense off. But man, I just think Puello is a better boxer, and he's seasoned and he knows what he's doing. Also beat Gary Antoine Russell as well. So for me, like, you beat those two guys, you have the better brand of competition on your side here. You're the better boxer. You know how to use your feet. You have a good enough right hand to give Subriel Matias all he can think about. I think Puello gets this done via decision. And it hurts me to say that because I love my body here, but this is not the feeling show. This is the gambling show. I gotta be honest with what I'm seeing. Subriel has a lot of technical flaws, man. And I wish he would get with a trainer that would help him fucking hone it, because I think he could present a lot of problems to someone like Puello if he was willing to hone his deficiencies. But you're telling me this is Puello fighting a less version of Gary Antoine Russell at this point. Like, I hate to sound terrible. And it's crazy because this is styles-based matchups. If Gary Antoine Russell fought Subriel, I think, would have better luck, because Gary's going to be there to get hit. Puello is not going to be there to get hit if he's done his homework. Subriel has taken a man's life in the ring. Unfortunately, Puello is not going to be the guy that wants to be on the opposite end of this guy's punches. He is going to figure out how to get this to decision, and I think he wins it by decision convincingly. Give me Puello here by decision. Next fight on the card, and is currently constituted the co-main event for this particular card for the WBC World Lightweight title, we have Shakur Stevenson going one-on-one with William Zepeda. Stevenson, perfect. 23-0. Fighting out of Houston, Texas, 28 years old. Zepeda, perfect. 33-0. Fighting out of Mexico, rep in Mexico, 29 years old.
Yeah, this is Shakur Stevenson's fight to lose right off rip. He's probably going to win this by decision, and he's half Bordy too, so back in the Boricua train here.
There we go.
So I got Serrano, Shakur that I'm not fading this weekend. This is a fight where I seen everything I needed to see from Zepeda versus Tevin Farmer in 2 fights. He's limited in a lot of ways. Shakur makes better decisions than Tevin. The only thing that Shakur doesn't have over Tevin is power. But Shakur is not there to get hit. He's just not there to get hit. And I'm going to say by decision, even though he's going to be the much more dynamic counterpuncher here, because he has pillows for hands. My man fought an electrician on short notice this last fight, and it took him every bit of the time necessary to get him out of that fight. The corner had to step in. It's just going to be a one-sided decision by Shakur, in my opinion. I have a hard time believing he's going to get the very durable Zepeda out of there. That's how this fight's going to go. I don't know what adjustments Zepeda can make to make this interesting. He has to hurt him with a shot and then try to close the show from there. But if this fight goes anywhere past the 4th round, it's Shakur's fight to lose entirely. So give me Shakur Stevenson here by decision, and I hope it's a little entertaining. I'm expecting it to be entertaining just because of Zepeda, but if Shakur disciplines him early, it could be very boring. So that's exactly how this fight's going to go. But it's Shakur Stevenson by decision all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
Next fight on the card, and has currently constituted the main event for the evening, and the last fight we are going to be breaking down, ladies and gentlemen. We have Edgar Berlanga going 1-on-1 with Khamzat Sheeraz. Edgar Berlanga, the chosen one, is 23-1 overall, fighting out of Florida, 28 years old. Sheeraz, 20-0-1. Fighting out of England, rep in England, 26 years old.
One of the most interesting fights of the weekend. And I love this fight. If you watch the build-up, it has been fucking hilarious because Berlanga is calling Sheeraz Turkey's son. And, I don't know what a turkey's son is, but, a smaller turkey.
A baby turkey.
Baby turkey. and I'm not completely against his analysis here. And here's why. He has been propped up throughout his career. If you look at his Wikipedia page, half of his opponents don't have Wikipedia pages. You can't find them. They might have been guys, Uber drivers that they called off the street to fight him just to get him some reps. He fought Austen Ammo Williams, got rid of him, made sense, and he got rid of him later that fight. Ammo Williams, a little bit of a questionable chin, and to Sheeraz's record, this is the only loss on Williams' record. So I'm not trying to take anything away from it, but Ammo, a little wild with his punches, very defensively irresponsible, questionable chin. Fighting a guy in Sheeraz who's naturally just a bigger guy, right? And despite Sheeraz's success in that fight, he still got rocked by Ammo at certain points of that fight. Then he faces his next opponent, Carlos Adames. That fight was slow. It was not a good performance from Sheeraz. If you want my honest opinion, I thought Adames won that fight. And they gave it a draw as a gift to the kid. There's so many variables on the Sheeraz side. I think he makes better decisions than Berlanga. I think he's the better technical boxer than Berlanga, and I think he works behind the jab better than Berlanga. But hear me the fuck out right now. And yes, this is my third boardie that I'm not going to fade. Berlanga, tighter with his punches than Ammo Williams. Berlanga, better chin than Ammo Williams. Berlanga, gonna walk forward, gonna throw bombs, gonna hit Sheeraz in this fight, in my opinion. Berlanga, this fight is in New York in his backyard. And the reason I think it is that is because Sheeraz had no choice but to take this fight in his backyard. All of that leads me to lean on the Berlanga side for this weekend. I trust Berlanga to push the action. I trust Berlanga to walk through some of Sheeraz's shots here. I trust Berlanga to land some damage here. I also trust the judges to be favorable towards Berlanga here. Sheeraz kind of got exposed in the Ammo fight, just a twig. The Adames fight showed me a lot. Do I think he'll have a better performance than the Adames fight? Yes. Because Berlanga is going to give him the fight where he can fight off his back foot and he can jab away, punch away. The thing is, Berlanga has figured out this style before. And this is a guy in Sheeraz who I think a little questionable in terms of what his upside and his ceiling is, and easily discourageable, like you saw in the Adames fight when he can't get his way and he can't effectively land his offense. Berlanga also, every fight I see him, including the Canelo fight, improving his game, improving his head movement. Fought a can his last fight, so can't take that away. Just because Sheeraz is the better boxer, I don't think necessarily means he's going to win this fight. And for that reason, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to lean Edgar Berlanga. Don't know if I'm going to bet this fight. Don't know if I have any interest in betting this fight at all because of the variables, because there are a lot of variables in this fight. But just as a pure lean and just from a gut hunch, I think Berlanga is going to figure out a way to get this done. Don't know how it's going to get done. Could go all 12. Could be a knockout because Sheeraz can make and is capable of making very good defensive decisions. The finishing upside is on the Berlanga side, and the hometown judging, favorable judging, and favorable crowd reaction is on the Berlanga side. The one prop I do have interest in is the split majority here. That's why I will say I'm going to take a strong look at, but from a betting standpoint, this is a high variable fight. I'm just going to sit down and enjoy the show because this fight can go so many different ways. I'm going to put my nuts on the table and say Berlanga, not with a high degree of confidence, but the split majority prop is a prop that I will probably be entertaining depending on the value. Give me Berlanga for the win here.
And that does it for this episode. 106 in the books. Some okay MMA, some better boxing. All that shit got broken down. We're tired of breaking it down. So my brother, please take us home.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know. Love you guys. Holla at you guys. Episode 106 in the books. Tune in next week. We hope you guys enjoyed your 4th of July weekend last week. Welcome to this week. Holla at you guys. See you guys next week for episode 107. Take it easy. Keep the subs coming. We have more coming and on the way. Love you guys. See you soon. Peace.